Hey guys, this is GalahadB here, and I am going to show you my first game of the fourth round of the international tournament. This time I'm playing against Jim Hansen, and as usual, I am starting out as three people. My current standing is 3-3, so I must win the next two games against Jim Hansen to have any hopes of surviving the Swiss part of the tournament and make the top cut, and also hope that my previous opponents do a fairly good job and give me a lot of tiebreaker points so that I can hopefully qualify for the top cut. And yeah, I want to play three people first because if I lose the first game, then there is no hope anymore, and I'm out anyways, and so yeah, at least I don't have to worry about that anymore. And if I win it, then I'm pretty confident in my shadow ability, so I think then I have a pretty good shot of making the 5-3 segment, and then hopefully that will be enough because of my fairly strong tiebreakers, hopefully. Yeah, Jim Hansen is standing at 4-2, so he has a much better position than I do. He only needs to win one game to have a shot at qualifying. But I think his tiebreakers aren't that good, so probably for him going 1-1 against me wouldn't be enough. So yeah, I start out as three people. So these are my opening cards. Not too bad, at least I get a playable one, but strategy card is not playable, 10-1. And he also gets a perfectly nice hand. So yeah, he gets this perfectly nice roll, and I feel like, again, my roll leaves a lot to be desired. I don't know, it feels to me that all my fellowship games this tournament have been pretty heavy going. And this is not an exception. Like, no movement against only one eye, that is an absolute nightmare. But yeah, and I make a comment about it, that because it feels like the last few games have all gone like this, or similar, which is not entirely correct, I don't think, but it's, subjective feeling. So yeah, there's no real rush for me right now. Just see what he does. But yeah, obviously he's going to get Saruman. No surprise there. I move armies just in case he tries anything sneaky with Rohan here. He consolidates, which means I'm a little worried about Gonda getting attacked. I'm not worried in the sense that I would be afraid of that happening, but just that it pushes me more to maybe muster Gonda closer to one. And yeah, what's interesting here is it's been a while that I've played this game. Like my videos, it dragged a long time before I actually got around to make them. And for me, it's interesting because I have less memories of the games now, and so I can really analyze. Would I still do this or that move? Do I still agree with what I did like a month or two ago? Very interesting for me. Hopefully that's also interesting for you. Yeah, I do move once against only one eye. Makes sense. Like, I think against Jalendors, I didn't do that. Or was it Michel? Because I didn't want to give him Saruman, but he rolled two musters anyway, so it's not going to change anything. And yeah, he might not have a playable card, and in fact we know he does not have a playable card, so he would be forced to draw one with a Palantir. But I think that's reasonable. At least he would have to use the ring this turn, and then it's gone. But not moving even once against only a single eye, that seems very bad. So yeah, I'm safe. I'm happy about that. Yeah, and I do muster Gonda to war, which I think makes sense. I mean, the other option would have been to do a double army move from Western Net to Forts and from Iron Hills to Erebor. But yeah, I think mustering makes a lot of sense. And he does draw a card and just save the ring. Also makes sense. This time you get some more eyes, and this time I roll some movement, so that's great. Especially against three eyes, I have a good chance of killing off Gandalf and I definitely want that. So yeah, I run right away because he does have 3 masters in theory. If he has Day Without Dawn, then he could rush all the nations to war and maybe deny me Gandalf if I wait too long. But he doesn't have that. I move, I'm safe. I'm not too happy to be safe. So now he hits me, and it's a 1 in reveal. So yeah, I'm getting revealed into Moria. I'm 100% revealing into that stronghold. The only question is, does it make sense to sacrifice Gandalf to the 1? And honestly, I'm not 100% sure. But I figured that, at least I think that's what I did. Like, there's 6 tiles in the pool that would not do anything. And there's 6 tiles that would be better to kill off Gandalf too. And 3 tiles that are just as good as the 1. And so I think I figured, okay, it's a 50-50 between a worse or a better result. So I think I decided to take down Gandalf here. Yeah, I do take Gandalf. And I do still declare into Moria because I'm afraid with my slow start that if I go the high pass, I might be way too slow. And it's an eye, so nice. Okay, my opponent musters some Nazgul, interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but yeah, you have a lot of early musters. Nothing urgent needs to be done, so sure, why not? I get Gandalf, and I hide, and so hopefully I'll make it out of Moria without too much hassle. And yeah, he allocates an extra eye. Makes sense, so he gets full rerolls. It's okay for me though, because that means his military will be a lot slower. And yeah, I'm definitely happy about that. So I move, and I'm safe, and that's super good for me. Yeah, he plays candles, 2 hits, not the worst. I move again. Maybe that's a little crazy, but I think I figured, okay, I have yet another character die and a will. I'm not gonna move 3 or 4 times this turn, but I might just get Aragorn crowned. Because his military is not that fast. Fellowship is now making some solid progress, and while it's not great to lose 3 Fellowship HP by separating Strider, and also being inefficient with Gandalf, taking him down to 1, at least that would enable me to recklessly take randoms and dwindle the Fellowship down and get a fast Golem. And I mean, I see Mithril, Code and Sting, and Bilbo's Song in my hand, so I'm not too worried about corruption. I mean, obviously, if I run into like 3 red tiles, that's always going to be bad, but I mean, if things go totally wrong, then even Strider can't salvage that. And I mean, there's risk in keeping Strider in the Fellowship by randoming him into 1 or something. So you're never quite safe. So I think that's what I'm doing here. And it's not a reveal, it's just a 1, no problem. Definitely a little fortunate there. And yeah, I do separate Strider, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he attacks into Old Forest Road. Makes sense. I wish I had scouts, but he has Swarm of Bats anyways, I think. Yeah, and that's what he's playing now. So, yeah, makes sense. I crown Aragorn. Yeah, and I was thinking of... No, that wouldn't have made sense. I thought elves were 1 closer to war, but they were not. Yeah, and I definitely didn't want to push Gondor to war because that would have meant he could have gotten the Witch King this turn. And so at least this way I have 6 dice going into next turn. I am not revealed through Moria unless he plays something, but I don't think he has anything. No, he doesn't. So yeah, I think that's not so bad. Despite the very slow start, I really picked up pace, and now I get this wonderful sprinting roll. The one issue I see here is that I don't have anything really to defend the dual line, and Lorien's also not looking too healthy. So yeah, he might make a lot of progress with the military part of things this turn. So I move, I get hit. Now the good thing, Strider is gone. I can just take the guide every time. And he does some inefficient moves because he wants more rerolls. I'm fine with that because it's gonna slow him down. And I want him to spend more time than he can afford to on the hunt. He's attacking Lorien. Okay. Yeah, he really wants the Witch King now, which makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I drew into Book of Mazabu with my Palantir because I didn't really have any playable cards. I certainly didn't want to play Bilbo Song without Gollum as a guide, and I also didn't want to play Mithril Coat and Sting with so many companions still in the Fellowship, and Nazgul Strike being a risk. So I'm pretty sure I'm debating here between moving Gandalf out and then playing Book of Mazabu at the start of next turn. He doesn't really have a good answer to that because he's only got a Mustard Eye showing, and if he moves the Woodland Realm army out of Woodland Realm to Withered Heath, in the event that I play Book of Mazabu, then that's A, gonna cost him a ring right now, and B means that he's gonna be inefficient in the dual line. But I guess moving once more also isn't too terrible. Yeah, I move once more. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Get hit. It's another 3. And certainly this 3 I would have just taken down Strider, I think, if he was still in the Fellowship. He's risking a random, maybe getting a Harbor. That would have been pretty bad. So, yeah, he rolls a bunch of eyes, which is very good for me in theory, but I'm also a little unsure what to do now. I get the last move, so in theory I could make Mordor this turn, even through Cruel Weather, but it's gonna cost me a lot of corruption. And since his military is very slow, it might be worth going slower this turn, but then if I go slower this turn, I might risk getting Cruel Weather next turn when I won't have the last action. So this is a little tricky to decide what to do. And I still have the Book of Mazabu play, which might be very good now because he only has 4 dice, and the Witch King is all the way in Lorien. So I think, and the Southrons are not at war, so my wills are safe for now. Yeah, so I think a good idea would be to get Gandalf elsewhere, or Strider actually. Can Strider make it? He could make it if I move him elsewhere with Reproof the Swifter. Interesting. So yeah, tons of options here. You could make Mordor, but then corruption is going to be a real issue. Or you could play Book of Mazabu, get the dwarves active, and he can do something about it. He has 4 attacks, so he could move Woodland Realm into Withered Heath and then attack Erebor. But he needs to keep some guys behind because the elves are at war, so I might sortie out of Woodland Realm and then muster up in Woodland Realm, and then, yeah, I don't know, do something. So yeah, I move once. Oh, 3 hits. But it's not an eye, so not that bad. Gone to war, okay, makes sense. Attacks Lorien, only 1 hit. He presses and kills Lorien off. And removes all the elites, which I'm happy to see because that means it's less dangerous for me and Rohan, because otherwise if he moves like 2 elites from Lorien down and merges them up with an Orthanc army, then Helm's Deep will certainly fall. But if it's just regulars, then he might not have enough leads to press me down. Yeah, and the question is, do I? Yeah, that's 3 eyes, and it's only 9 tiles left, so 33% chance of running into an eye if you move now. But it, yeah, might just be a 1 in reveal. He musters up, and so do I. So what would I do today? I think being safe from cruel weather and having Bilbo's Song in hand, and there being a bunch of tile drawing cards that might be very painful next turn anyways, I'm inclined to just move again. Like there's about a 50-50 of not being revealed, because even with 5 dice, there's a chance he might not even hit me, and if he does hit me, it's almost a 50-50 of not being revealed. So I feel like if it's not a reveal, then I'm definitely fine. If it's like a 0 reveal into an eye, it's not that bad either. So the only thing that's really problematic is if he hits me, gets like 3 or 4 hits, and then it's an eye, and then from the stronghold tile he's drawing a 3. That would be super painful. But the hunt pool in general is not even looking that bad. There's gonna be a lot of eyes, yes, but also a couple of not that damaging standard tiles. And I've already played a blue tile. He didn't play a red tile yet, so yeah, I think risking the move wouldn't be too bad. But no, okay, I go for the Book of Mazabu type of play. Also makes sense to me, yeah. Yeah, I killed Gua here because I already have We Prove the Swifter, that makes sense. What's the other card I killed? House of the Stewards. Yeah, okay, I'm certainly not separating Boromir anymore because he's already dead. Yeah, and I think so. The timing of separating or moving companions at the end of last turn was pretty important, so that I can play Book of Mazabu at the start of this turn. So even if he reacts to it, I would still get 1 muster off for sure. And so I think, yeah, the correct play here would be to use the Will of the West and play Book of Mazabu now. Yeah, and that's what I'm doing. Even if he goes for me right away, which he does not. So I have time to muster up, and now he attacks. And now I have 4 leads, and might still draw into Dane Ironfoot's guard. So yeah, that worked out perfectly for the due defense. And yeah, there's no reason to risk a field battle because the Dwarven pool is so small anyways. There's only a single elite left to muster, and I might get to muster that anyways if I draw into Dane. And going up against 9 hit points with Gandalf is gonna be very tough. So he takes Woodland Realm, no hits all around. But his army is so big that even without cards, like 3 elites in there, yeah, that's not a whole lot I can do about that. So and I miss all the way through. I didn't even hit him once on 3 rounds of combat. But okay, I mean he's on 4 victory points, and that was all the easy victory points he's gonna get, I think, because Erebor is looking mighty tough. Dol Amroth has already been mustered quite a bit, and Rohan also has prepared some defenses. So the remaining victory points are going to be much more difficult for him. I move, I'm safe. Yeah, I prepare for Rohan. And now the question is, do I move again? Or do I feel like I can risk getting cruel weathered and still have enough time? And I think I take the risk and play Mithril because, yeah, I think playing Mithril now would make sense because then if he has something like Nazgul Strike, he would have to decide between having a chance to reveal me into Moranon or letting Mithril sit. If he only has one with Soren Toil, he couldn't get rid of Mithril anymore anyways, because I only have Hobbits left. And so the only way Mithril would die is if he has both Cruel Weather and then Nazgul Strike next turn. And the odds of him having Cruel Weather are not that high, it's only 7 out of 24. So yeah, I think not moving here is correct because corruption is an issue. Oh, but I do move again and get hit, but it's not a reveal, so not that bad. Okay, interesting. Did he have something? Nazgul Search. Okay, so yeah, he's gonna play that now then, I guess. Yeah. Army lost in action. But he draws an eye, so it's not that bad. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have moved there. But I was so afraid that Cruel Weather might cost me a full turn, and that might be enough to give him the win. Because I'm not super confident in Dol Amroth. Like, even with 7 HP in there, he might still just take it. Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's an eye. I'm entering Mordor on effective 4 corruption. That is a problem. And a lot of standard tiles have already been drawn. Like there's a whooping 9 tiles that have been drawn. But some of the high damage tiles have been drawn. And there's still plenty of decent tiles left. Like the 2s, the 1s, not that bad. And I have Bilbo's Song in hand and Mithril Code Instinct. So I think I have very good odds still. And I'm definitely moving fast enough. So I think I have good odds here. and I now have Celeborn and Thranduil in hand, and I drew both these cards shortly after the respective stronghold fell. This is a little unfortunate, but okay. Yeah, and I'm asking who's favorite here, because I'm not entirely sure. I think I have an edge because I'm close to Gollum. I am already in Mordor. All the other strongholds are reasonably well, or in case of Erebor, extremely well protected. So I think I have an edge, but definitely ring victory for him is possible. It's interesting. I do a double army move now instead of fighting. Well, I guess there's no card I really need to be afraid of. Like Lure of the Ring is only gonna hit the Hobbit. Morgul Wound is gonna be 1 damage anyways at any point, and Breaking, yeah, might actually fail because he would have to draw a tile, and the tile might be an eye. So I guess there's no real rush to hide, but also there's no real rush to do this double army move, I guess. Yeah, I guess I was afraid of him just attacking Force of Eisen right now before I am able to buff them. Right, and that was my only army muster die. If I think he has Day Without Dawn. And so the fact that he didn't play Day Without Dawn yet makes me think he doesn't have it, so I hold on to my will. So I'm more flexible with my decisions later on. So yeah, I play Mithril now. He plays Cassez. Yeah, I'm not surprised that he has it, seeing him move the Nazgul there last turn. Which is a reason to maybe just muster up a leader into Dol Amroth instead of do this double army move, which I don't think was entirely necessary. And with one extra leadership in Dol Amroth, I'd feel much, much better about the fight. So I move, it's an I, that's not so bad because it's only 2 damage. Yeah. So he goes for Dol Amroth, I think. And he gets 4 hits straight out of the gate. With Cruel Weather, that's really bad. And my combat dice this game seem to be terrible. Well, actually, I'm only -3 on hits, so it's not that bad. It just feels like I haven't been hitting him at all. And he gets another 2 hits against Daylight with Movement Kill. So that's gonna be it for Dol Amroth. Yeah, even an extra leader wouldn't really have changed anything here. So seeing Dol Amroth fall like that makes me very nervous, and so I hide now. Even though if he rolls a bunch of eyes, I might not want to move against a lot of eyes, but now I'm really afraid. So he attacks forwards, no card, and this time he doesn't get a single hit, but I get 4 hits back. So this at least worked out much more in my favor. Only 3 eyes, so yeah. Now I'm glad that I hit last turn, because I definitely want to move against 3 eyes. But I think the most urgent thing is to get an extra lead. Well, actually, no, I don't have to put an extra lead into Helm's Deep now, because it's unlikely that his 11 HP army will defeat my 7 HP army in a siege in Helm's Deep, and I can muster up an Edoras and Westernet and Fold, and so maybe pressure him if the siege doesn't go so well. So yeah, I think it's more important to move now before he can do anything. But no, I do muster, okay. Yeah, also makes some sense. Because now it's gonna be really tough for him to take Helm's Deep. So I move now before I play Bilbo Song. Yeah, I think you can do that. But I don't really see why I'm not playing Bilbo Song first. So yeah, this eye is a lot more difficult for me to tank, because now I'm on 9 corruption on step 2. But thankfully he doesn't have a card to punish me for it. Okay, so he's encircling Helm's Deep, taking Edoras first. I hide now. I'm not sure if that's correct, because corruption is such a big issue, but I guess corruption is such a big issue that I'm forced to move next turn regardless of the hunt pool, and there's only 2 eyes in there. So even if he rolls like a bunch of eyes, I'm still gonna have to move. Like, I'm not risking being too slow in a tournament game like this, because a 2 out of 9 chance of running into dangerous eye. I'd just have to tank that and hope it's not gonna be that bad. Yeah, makes sense. And now a playable song also makes sense. Plus I have Mithril, so in case he has like 5 eyes and I run into an eye, I can always mithril an eye. Yeah, I didn't draw anything that helps me this turn, so yeah, I move Aragorn there. Okay, do I have Deadman? No, I don't. But I guess I feel like with Aragorn in Helm's Deep should hold. I have an end card. I have Daring Defiance and Brave Stand. Like I have some pretty good cards. And yeah, he's debating now if he should go for Erebor or for Helm's Deep. And I'm not sure what's easier to take between the two, but I think Helm's Deep is probably easier because going up against Gandalf and only having 2 elites is probably not gonna work out. Whereas in Rohan you have 6 elites and 10 regulars. That's well, actually 12 regulars if you count all. Like he mustered almost everything out of the Isengard Force pool. I think Rohan is easier to pull off than Erebor. But okay, I move. Finally, a good tile. Now the only question is, do I tank 1 damage, or do I reveal here, which would make it much less likely to dunk this turn. Yeah, and the question comes down to how confident do I feel about my 2 strongholds of Helm's Deep and Erebor. Like, both of them need to hold out. If I feel like that's a very high chance of happening, then I can afford to reveal here. And otherwise, I definitely should tank the damage and move again. Because if the next tile is pleasant, then I have a really good chance to dunk. Yeah, and looking at it, I think it's gonna be extremely tough for him to take Erebor and Helm's Deep. Yeah, is a lot more probable, but also not super likely. So I think it's correct to reveal here. Then again, that might turn on the reveal damage cards. Yeah, I think you can do either. Yeah, I take the 1 damage. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, and he cancels my scouts with Swarm of Bats, which I'm sad about because I wanted to flee the Old Forest Road and then threaten a take back on Dale. But that's not happening, unfortunately. And yeah, I'm not sure here if I should move right now or not, because if I move and it's an eye, I am basically dead. And if you look at the pool, there's 3 tiles that will probably end my game right now, and 4 tiles that give me very good chances to dunk. But yeah, not perfect chances, because if I run into the 2, yeah, like if I run into any of these 3 tiles, then the 3 would kill me. For sure if I draw it afterwards. And if I draw one of the 2s. No, I think it's even worse. Like if I run into the 3 now, I would probably have to take it, go to 11 corruption. Nah, I wouldn't take it. No, the 3 would be terrible. Then I would have to reveal. But then I could hide again, move again, and the 2s would not kill me because I could reveal with Golem. So I guess you can risk a move here. I mean, it's not gonna get much better next turn because he might just roll 2 eyes. So I think moving here is definitely correct because next turn there's likely gonna be 3 eyes in there anyways. So I wouldn't have gained anything by waiting, and I might win the game this turn. And it's a perfect tile case reveal. Yeah, I didn't even remember that. And I'm super happy in chat, as you can see. So Mortar started out really rough with the 2 eyes back to back, but then I got a 1 and a 0, so they made up for that. And yeah, he plays dreadful spells, and that is one card that might give him Erebor. Yeah, and I'm doing some math now, thinking about how good are my odds and am I happy with them and what could he draw into that makes my odds worse. Because right now I'm at 8, 8 corruption, so he would need to roll 3 eyes next turn to give him enough corruption damage so that these 2 eyes would be damaging for me, like game ending for me. And if he doesn't get that, which would be very unlikely, then all these tiles would be winners for me. So then next turn I could basically just move right away, and because of Mithril, there's no way that he can stop me, because if it's Shelob, I use Mithril. If it's not Shelob, I win the game. Very, very high odds. The problem is he might draw into more red tiles that he could play. But if these 2 eyes become non-killing next turn, and all he adds is 1 extra red tile, that would be okay, because then the pool is bigger, there's 2 bad tiles as opposed to 3 bad tiles, and with Mithril in hand, my odds would definitely go up. The problem would be tile drawing cards, because if he plays something like Isildur's Bane and he draws Shelob, would I let that sit? Probably not. I probably would have to Mithril Shelob back, and that would like make my odds of dunking plummet like crazy. Like I would still have good chances, but I basically would have lost Mithril by being greedy and not accepting a 85.7% chance to win the game. But I feel pretty confident in Erebor even after Delvery of Orthanc. He doesn't have that many attacks after all. I have some cards that can do something. Actually only 2 cards because I can't really play Daring Defiance. But I feel like it's likely enough that Erebor will hold out, and so next turn my chances to win will be extremely high. So I decide to wait, and so he does the obvious choice, attack Erebor, and cycle character cards. And he only gets 1 hit, but I get 4 hits. So that makes me a lot more confident that Erebor will hold out. But we can see he just drew into Isildur's Bane. At this point I'm feeling like, okay, this is going great, nothing can happen. And yeah, I decide to play it slow and just dunk next turn. Then he plays Isildur's Bane, and I'm like, oh no, I should have moved, because now a lot of the outcomes are pretty bad. Like if he draws a 0, that's okay. If he draws any of the eyes, amazing. But any of these 4 tiles would be pretty bad because I definitely don't want to spend Mithril on a 2 because there's worse outcomes than the 2 in the 3 and Shelob. I would have to use Mithril on the 3 because if I tank the 3 here, I go up to 9 and then the 2s would kill me and the eyes would kill me, and so I would only have 1 good tile left. And Shelob, yeah, if it's Shelob 3 or higher, then that's also basically game ending. So I would probably also have to put Shelob back. But the good thing is he does draw an eye. And now my chances to dunk are extremely high because the pool is only 6 tiles, but I have a 4 out of 6 chance to win right away. And then if he draws one of the 2 bad tiles, I can use Mithril, and then I will have another 4 out of 5 chance to win the game. And that is much better than what I had previously. And so this is now finally good enough that I'm not willing to risk losing Aragorn after all, because I might if he has like 2 really good Deadly Strives or something, or a Mumakil into Deadly Strive, into another Deadly Strive, I don't know, something like that. Yeah, I don't think he has that many Deadly Strives left. But you know, the battle in Aragorn could go south, and my odds of winning are so high now that I definitely, yeah, I do the math because it's an important game, and it's 93.33% if I didn't mess up my odds, and that's high enough that I'm willing to risk it right now. And there's some chance that, like, it's not 6.66% chance to lose, because one way that I don't win right now is by running into an I now, I Mithril it, run into Shelob, but it's a Shelob 1 or 2 or maybe even 3. That would not end my game. So yeah, it's less than 7% chance to lose, higher than 90% chance to win. I take it. Since he has just played a card he must have just drawn, I feel confident that he can't have anything to hurt me right now, so I'm willing to write it out for one more action and draw a card, because it might be there is another way. And if I happen to draw into there is another way, then I have a 100% chance to win the game. So yeah, it's definitely correct to draw a card first. That makes sense. Because I'm ending, or most certainly ending the game right now. He didn't need a ring anyways because he has Mouth of Sauron, so he can move Dalen to Aragorn and then attack for the win, maybe. So yeah, I don't lose anything by doing what I just did. And I'm afraid of ground because that would give him 3 rounds of combat, plus 2 potential presses. And because without ground, it's gonna be tough in 3 rounds of combat to score 7 hits against Gandalf. But it would be possible. And with such a high chance of winning, yeah, I move, and it's a 2, and I win the game. And now, yeah, now I'm sitting on 4 and 3 and have pretty good chances to make it to 5 and 3 because I'm playing Shadow next. And then if I win that, then yeah, we'll see if my tiebreakers are good enough. So the statistics for this game, I think we're fairly balanced. I started out slow, but then I really picked up pace, as you can see with all the wills and the movement that I rolled afterwards. So yeah, don't be too frustrated early with bad starting rolls. The game is usually long enough that things often enough balance each other out. He was low on Palantirs, high on armies, so that's a pretty good roll for him. Combat was fairly even. Even though I started out low on hits, I picked up the pace there too. And he's a little low on sixes. But I don't think it really mattered this game because I won this turn, and I don't think he really had the means to win by turn 8. Um, yeah, I don't think combat was the reason why he lost. Maybe if he hadn't put that much effort into the fellowship, maybe he can win on turn 8. But then I certainly would have gone into mortar 1 turn faster too. So yeah, that probably wouldn't have helped him either. Um, yeah, maybe if he cycled into more character cards to find more red tiles. But that was also hard to call because corruption didn't seem like such a big issue before I got into Mordo. I think the final 2 or 3 steps cost me quite a bit of damage, and that was hard for him to foresee. So yeah, I think I just got a little lucky that the Mortar track, after a fairly unpleasant start, was very friendly afterwards, and that his military was slow enough because I got, yeah, Book of Mazabal probably is what saved me the game here, because otherwise I would have definitely lost Erebor much faster. Yeah. But would I have lost on 10-8? I don't know. But anyways, yeah, that's my 7th game of this tournament. I'm 4-3 right now, and the next game will decide if I have a shot at the top card or if I'm out. So thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day, and see you soon. Bye bye.